Welcome to Reiki Rising, a podcast dedicated to the transformative power of Reiki and the journey of spiritual awakening. I'm your host, Raven Waterblossom, your guide on this path to healing, self-discovery, and inner peace. Here, we explore the depths of energy healing, mindfulness practices, and how to align with the flow of life's natural rhythms. Whether you are a seasoned practitioner or just beginning your Reiki journey, this space is for you. Join me as we rise together, embracing the light within and around us. Let's begin our journey. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Reiki Rising. I'm Raven, your host, and today I am really excited to talk about something that has been a really important practice in my life over the last couple of years. A personal retreat. As we approach the end of the year, it's the perfect time to reflect, slow down, and nourish ourselves with practices that support our inner growth. And this year, I'm inviting you to join me on this journey. I have been doing this personal retreat practice for the last couple of years. Usually it starts in November and December, and I carry it for those 2 months. And last year I also carried it into January. It's been a really alchemical experience for me. Really transformative. Every year, these months are naturally a time of introspection. It's the time of the seasons changing, the days grow shorter, and we move towards the energy of winter. This is a time of turning inward and really beginning or leaning into our shadow work in a more significant way. Living cyclically with the seasons is so important as a part of aligning with the flow of nature, and I really believe that finding nourishing practices during these months can help us enter this introspective period feeling more grounded and supported. Usually by this time of the year, I've been struggling with leaning into my nourishing practices in the morning or in the evening. It's that transition. I've kind of let go of them maybe through the end of the summer, and I really need a way to come back to this practice. And this guide that I created to share with all of you is something that really helped me anchor these practices in. These months are generally busy, and that goes against the flow of nature during this time. We are supposed to be slowing down, going inward, and yet there is a lot to do. We have the holidays coming up, whatever holiday you celebrate. This is busy time. It's a busy time for all of us. So having this guide as a way to bring in some intentional practices into our day-to-day is really important and really helpful, I believe. So I'm sharing it with all of you. And for the first time ever, I'm opening this up to a in real-time experience every week. If you want to join me in the month of December for these practices, there are several options, which I'll go over in just a moment. But this is something that I will be, if you choose to, reaching out to you every week. There is also an option here to add in a Reiki session, and I really I'll talk about all of how that is supportive to you, but I really wanted to give options to people. So there is a self-guided journey option that does not include one-on-one interaction, but I am always here to support you if you ever have any questions about this journey, about the journal and the process, the guide itself, and yeah, I'm always open to receiving messages if you need a little guidance. So the first option is the self-guided journey. And you can download this personal retreat journal and guide and create your own personal retreat practice. This is kind of the first level here. We'll all be doing this. All be creating our retreat practice. It's perfect if you like to move at your own pace, if you are just not sure where to start. This will give you a guide to including some mindfulness practices, movement, nutrition, and reflection whenever it feels right for you. The second option includes this self-paced option, but so you get the guide, but I'll also be offering weekly check-ins through email throughout the month of December. I'll be offering some additional guidance in these emails and an opportunity for you to reach out, for us to connect if you'd like to. If you're someone who really enjoys having a little extra support and accountability, these check-ins will give you that guidance and encouragement to help you stay on track and really deepen this experience. And the third opportunity here is a full immersion. You get the journal, the guide, the weekly email check-ins, and you'll get to book a one-on-one Reiki session with me. And this is for in-person or a virtual Reiki session. And I've really found that incorporating Reiki into my retreat practice brings another layer of healing and energetic alignment. It really helps to create this container for a deeper level of transformation as we move through this process. I want to remind you that no matter what option aligns with you, the beauty of this retreat is that it's accessible. It's flexible, and I really designed it to meet you where you are. So if this feels intimidating, try to go into this with an open mind. I really was intentional about creating this retreat in a way that provides an opportunity for those of us who it's not accessible for us to leave our home, to take time off from our job or from our responsibilities. You have a family, you have kids, you have a job, or you run your own business, or whatever the barrier is there, even financially, for us to go on a retreat to another state, another location in some way, another country even, that's not always accessible for time constraints, financial constraints, energetic, whatever it is. So I really wanted to create this so that you can find a way to include these practices in your day-to-day life. So if you are wanting more structure, prefer to take things at your own pace, there's a version that will work for you. You can take this to, one-on-one Reiki session if that is something that you're interested in. I really encourage you to continue this practice throughout the month of December with me, as well as January and even beyond. I usually carry this into January with these practices because they really help me stay grounded as I transition into the new year. I am not a huge fan of setting New Year intentions. This is still a time of reflection and of introspection. I generally don't start thinking about that until the beginning of February. This is something that I have played around with over the years, and I really think that there is a solid foundation here to share this with you all. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why this is so aligned with this time of year and why I am sharing this. So November and December, traditionally for me, are months of slowing down. I often take less clients sometimes. I take a break from the podcast, which I won't be doing this year because I do feel like this is a really supportive place for people and I want to offer that. So I'll be continuing the podcast throughout the end of the year and beyond, and just creating this space for us to connect if that's what you want to do. So this is a time for shadow work, and shadow work is the practice of looking at the parts of ourselves that we might usually avoid and bringing them into light. This retreat is a container for you to do just that in a way that feels safe and nourishing. We're building these supportive practices to come to daily or weekly, and also this is a very flexible practice. So if there's a day that it just doesn't align, that's totally okay. We have weekly plans that we're going through. We're setting up our practices, setting ourselves up for success, and setting that intention to come to these. But life does happen, and that's okay. The point of this is to be flexible. We don't want to create something so rigid that it becomes a barrier. So we'll be creating this retreat process together. The first week we'll be talking about how to go through this guide and really set your intentions for your practice, and that might look different than the person next to you, and that's okay. Everybody is going to be able to get something out of this retreat process that aligns with them. And that may just be to follow the rhythm of the season and to use this retreat opportunity as a way to guide you there. As I mentioned last week in our podcast, living cyclically is something that's really important to me. And during this time of year, when we're called to rest, called to conserve our energy and prepare ourselves for the renewal that comes with spring. But that renewal can happen. We just have to create some space for it, right? We have to create space for that. So slowing down, finding stillness, and engaging in these mindfulness practices is how I like to do that and how I want to share this with you. So when we take the time to create these habits and routines that support us during these months, we're building that foundation for long-term wellness heading into the next year. I don't know about you, but I used to have this practice of setting an intention, a New Year's resolution at the beginning of the year, and by the end of January, it's fallen off. So that's why I like to extend this out through the month of January, because we are still in winter. We're in the depth of winter in January, and we're really in that time of reflection after all the craziness of the end of this year. So I like to invite you to create this space, this foundation, to extend that through January if you want to. The guidance here will be through the month of December, and then that's kind of like a training ground, and you get to set off on your journey in January. I'm still here to support you if you need it or desire it, but it's not about whether you stick to the program or not. It's about creating these practices and seeing what works for you. If you want to bring some of that into January, great. If December was enough for you, that's okay too. It really is designed to help you build these habits, whether it's through movement, mindfulness, journaling, taking time for yourself each day, even if it's just 5 minutes. You can continue these practices as long as you need them. It's not about rushing through the process. It's about really embracing this process fully and at your own pace. So I'm so excited to be expanding this offering and sharing with you the process that I go through, sharing it with all of you. I've gone back through this journal and added some additional guidance and wisdom and journaling pages, all the things. So I've updated that, and this is accessible at any time for your self-paced journey. I do have it available in my Patreon storefront. If you're part of the Reiki Rising Collective, you can find it there. Anytime you want to do this retreat, it's open. So definitely check it out. If it doesn't feel like it aligns right now in this season for you, that is always an option. But the individual one-on-one guidance is just for the month of December. So it's really, really a personal practice for me, and it's something that's brought me so much clarity and so much peace over the years. So whether you choose to go it alone or with the self-paced option, get extra guidance with the weekly check-ins, or have that Reiki session with me, I really hope this retreat offers you the same sense of renewal and connection that it's given me over the years. Registration is now open, and it will be closing on November 24th, and that's just the last week of November before we start this process. So if it's calling to you, I encourage you to join me. I can't wait to walk this path with you and see how this retreat experience unfolds for all of you. I will be sharing my process through the month of November. So if you aren't sure yet, if you're like, I don't know what this looks like, follow along. I'll be sharing in our Reiki Rising Collective on Patreon every step of the way about this process. I'll also be sharing on Instagram, on TikTok, social media. So follow me on the socials if you aren't already and you're curious about what this is going to look like. Every week I'll be posting a video just about my process, what I'm doing. How the first week will start in November with how to set your intention and go through this. So if you even want to follow along with me, download the journal and follow along in November, you can. That's totally up to you. And if you want to just use December as going a little deeper into that and having that weekly guidance one-on-one on a more detailed level, that's an option too. So if you'd like more details on the retreat options, or you want to go ahead and get started, head over to the notes in this episode of the podcast. I'll have my website and the link to check out those options. If you want to stay in touch with me and get extra support, I'll be offering those updates through the month. So DM me if you have questions, send me an email, whatever works for you. I hope that this was helpful to you, and I just wanted to just announce this, get it out there, and just open the door for you all to join me in the month of December. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode inspires you to kind of slow down or begin to think about slowing down, to nourish yourself, and really begin to set intentions to honor this time of year as an opportunity for growth, but also for rest. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for being here. Have a wonderful Sunday rest and nourishment, and whatever that looks like for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget to check out the show notes. I'll see you next week.